everyone, this video is about quantifiers. Now, what are quantifiers? Quantifiers indicate amounts or quantities of things, and in this video, we are going to look at how to use and the differences between the following quantifiers. They are much, many, a lot of, few, a few, a little, some, and any. But before I get to the quantifiers, I had to talk about countable and uncountable nouns. I discussed what a countable and uncountable noun. And to determine which quantifiers to use, you have to know if the noun that you are describing a quantity for is a countable noun or a countable noun. Let's look at the example in the first examples. Set of examples, we have the countable noun apple. Apple is a countable noun. We can count apples, so in the first sentence, there's an apple on the tree. This is another way to say there's one apple on the tree. In the second example, there are apples on the tree. We can count them, so we can add an S and say that there are apples on the tree. There are more than one apple on the tree. Alright, so countable nouns, we can make them plural. In this particular case, I just added S to apple to make it plural, but other countable nouns have other ways to make them plural. Let's go to the next set of example with the countable nouns. In this case, we are talking about set. Set is what we call a mass noun. A mass noun is a group of something and we count a group as one, so they're singular. For example, number 1, here there is sand on the beach. You see it is counted as one sand, okay? And we will never say like number 2. There are sands on the beach. We can plural it. We can add s, alright? So if you can determine if the noun is a countable noun or countable nouns, you will be able to use quantifiers. Much, quantity of uncountable nouns, and is usually used in questions and negative sentence. Let's look at the first example. How much ice cream do you want? Here, much is describing or determining the amount of ice cream. Ice cream is uncountable nouns, so we use much, right? We can count ice cream. Remember, it's one of those mass nouns. A group is counted as group. And in the second example, children have much time before the bus leaves. Here, this is negative sentence. We are talking about children have enough time. And time in this example, in the particular use of time, it is accountable, so we use much. Alright? Time is accounted by how it's scanned off, by minutes and seconds and hours. Those things you can count, but time, the way it's used here, you can count it, so we use much, alright? Many, it's mainly used in questions and negative sentence, similar to much. It's a large quantity of something, but many is the alternative to much, because many quantifies countable nouns, like in the first example. How many cookies do you want? Is a countable noun. I can count cookies. 1, 2, 3. In the second example, you will see there aren't many cars on the highway today. Alright, so many means a large quantity, so if we say that there aren't many, we means there are not a lot of cars on the highway, okay? Cars, countable nouns. That's how you know which one to use. Now let's look at a lot of and lot of. A lot of and lots of. Used with countable and plural countable nouns, usually used in positive sentence. Like much and many, they are used to quantify large amounts. So in the first example, there is a lot of bread on the table. Bread is a countable or a countable noun? A countable nouns. Can also say number 2, there's lots of bread on the table. They both mean the same exact thing, so you can use a lot of or lots of with the countable nouns. Alright, and look at number 3 and 4. Let's do 3 first. There are a lot of windows in that house. Windows is countable nouns, so we can plural it, right? And put the s on this in this case. There's a lot of windows. And number 4, there are lots of windows in that house. 3 and 4 means the same exact things. You can use a lot of, lots of. Next, we are going to look at few and a few. Use with plural countable nouns usually means a small amount or quantity. Let's look at the example in the first. Few students walk to school in the country. When few is used like this in the particular sentence, the emphasis is on the small amounts of students who walks to school in the country. In example number 2, a few students walk to school in the country. In this case, the emphasis is on there are small amounts of students that actually walk to school, but there are at least some students that walk, so one is implying that there are small amounts, maybe in a negative way. And then in number 2, a few students is saying that, well, I know there is small amount, but some students do walk to school, okay? Now, you have to be careful, alright? Because there is an exception. That is, if you put quiet in front of a few, it changes everything. Let's look at the example quiet. A few students walk to school in the country. In this sentence, it means that many students. Quiet a few means many, so you see the big change. So that one little word quiet will change the whole meaning of the sentence, so you can still use it. Just remember what it means, okay? We are going to look at a little and a little. Little and a little. Used with countable nouns, a small amount or quantity. Let's look at the example. We had little time to prepare for the test. Now, in the sentence, we had little time. This means that we have maybe not any time at all. This means a very small amount or no time to prepare. And in number 2, you can really see the difference here. We had a little time to prepare for the test. This also means a small amount of time, but it's saying, well, I know it's a small amount, but it was still some time. You see how different it is from the first one. In the first example, we had little time. It means small amount or no time to do it. And then the second one, we had a little time, which actually means we had some time, but it was only a small amount, alright? Let's look some. Used with both countable and uncountable nouns, positive sentence, offering and request. He has some friends with him. Number 2, he bought some iced tea for his friends. Iced tea is an uncountable noun, you see, but we could still use some, so it can be used with countable and uncountable nouns. In number 3, we have an offering. Would you like some coffee? Here we are using some for the person is offering that the other person wants some things to drink. And in number 4, we have request. Could I borrow some money, please? Now, some is used other ways in English, but these are pretty common ways. Now, let's do the final quantifier, which is going to be any. Any, used with both countable and uncountable nouns, usually used in negative sentence and equations. Let's look at the example in the first sentence. Number 1, she doesn't have any friends at his school. This is implying it's a negative, right? She doesn't have friends. And again, it's a countable nouns, friends. Right, friend is a countable nouns. Number 2, there isn't any milk left in the refrigerator. Another negative, right? There is no milk. Milk is a countable. And in the third example, we have equations. Is there any money in your bank account? This is a natural question, right? It's not a negative or it's not a positive. It's just pauses, just asking, is there Ariel, right? And that's how it's used, alright. Okay, that's all for this video. Take a look at the summary here first. You can pause this video if you want, so I hope this video was helpful. Look for my next video, which is going to be a test on quantifiers, alright? So, like I always say, keep practicing. See you next time.